You're listening to the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Sir Colin Campbell and Gary A. McGowan.
Good day, good day, good day. You're tuned into the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Sir Colin Campbell and Gary A. McGowan. And we're on site right now, one of the biggest real estate event in Canada. That's right. And we have the big man from Keller Williams International, Marc King.
Wow. I like it. I like it. No rust on that intro. Marc King, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Fabulous. Well, glad you made it up here. This is a huge real estate event today, and we're talking about thriving in the market and adding things to the market, adding things to your business. Marc, tell us quickly your current role at KWRI so everyone understands.
Yeah, so I'm the president of Keller Williams, which is code form at the bottom of the company. We have 200,000 families, and my job is to service all 200,000. But quick note, I don't have his hair. So I got to be careful with the headphones.
Yeah,
so
I like it.
If it's odd, I apologize.
I like it. I could give you one of my hats. I'm not even wearing hair today. I chose to leave it at home. That's how we roll on this podcast. Fabulous, fabulous. Well, I had the pleasure of meeting you, as we just said quickly off camera, Marc, a few years ago at training for team leaders. Yeah. And during that time, I loved what you had to say, which you probably don't remember, and neither, frankly, do I specifically, but here's what I remember.
It was great.
Here's what I remember from that experience. There are always doors of opportunity.
Oh my gosh, there's so much opportunity.
And talk to us about the opportunity that you're seeing in this current market, in this current time. Talk to us about opportunity.
Yeah, so a lot of people are afraid, and so whether it's Warren Buffett or anybody that you study, all of them have a similar theology, if you will, about shifting markets, and it's simply this: when everybody's running one direction, it's smart to turn and walk the other way.
Interesting.
And that's how I've kind of lived my life on accident, which gets you into trouble sometimes, but also pays off. And this is a great example of that. If you go to YouTube or any social media right now and type in housing market crash, you'll find thousands of experts and gurus talking about things that honestly they know nothing about. And I'm not calling them out, but they're trying to get you to click on that because that's how they make their money, and more power to them. The problem is I have the data, and the data says there is no giant housing collapse coming. We have 5 million more millennials at peak buying age today than we had Gen Xers in 2008. This is nothing like 2008. Where it is similar is we will have less units sold around the world. We have a supply and demand problem. We have a math problem. The second piece is, we teach the law of equilibrium.
Of course.
That's basically that the amount of agents in the industry at any given time is correlative to the amount of commission dollars to be earned. And in 2008, when the market got cut by 30%, you saw 30% of the agents drop out. There was less commission dollars to be earned. It makes sense. People got to make a living. Now, this time is different. With a 38% average appreciation over the last couple of years, there's still plenty of equity, plenty of money to be made. So the challenge this time is more of a unit economics challenge than it is a earning a living challenge, if that makes sense.
Wow. And thank you for shining light on that. And you mentioned that, here at Keller Williams, and we've been using this tagline for over a year now, where entrepreneurs thrive.
Yep.
Right? And it's just a brilliant tagline, and we as entrepreneurs so embody that. What separates Keller Williams from every other brand out there? I'm not saying we're better, but we're just different.
We're way different. We have a different philosophy to everything. And I often say Keller Williams is not about what you get, it's about who you become. It's very much a self-empowerment type of company. Yeah. And some people mistake that for, we hear all the time, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, right? Which is code for you guys are different over there. And I take it as a compliment. I've been here almost 23 years. Let me give you a couple of specific examples. We're the only national company or international company that will openly say the brand doesn't matter. Real estate's a locally driven business by the agent and their sphere of influence. And so our job, if you believe that and agree with that, it fundamentally changes the value of the brand. Mm-hmm. So our job is to create the supportive and training environment and the technology that allows our agents to be the best possible fiduciary they can be for their consumers. And in a lot of ways, here's a great example. Times like this right now, there's a reason why Keller Williams always thrives during upset markets.
Yes.
And it's because we are lauded as the training, coaching, consulting company of the industry. Like that's what we honor and we value. And I would argue, and no offense to any personal financial advisors out there, I have a great one and we need them, but I'm going to argue that a top fiduciary real estate agent is more important to the consumer's wealth building than a financial advisor. Why? Because the most complex transaction of most people's lives is their homes. The highest value asset most people will own is their homes. Therefore, the person guiding you through this, a great example is I have friends right now from when I was an agent. A lot of people don't realize this because it's been so long now, but 14 years ago, I was the number 67 agent in the United States. So I've made all the dumb mistakes that we like to make as real estate agents, and I've also had a little success at it. And I get calls today of people going, I don't know what to do, the market's going to crash, and should we do this, should we do that? And I just say, look, my job is to calm you in the storm because here's the actual relevant data to you. Here's your local market statistics. Here's the last thing on this. What makes us different is we believe and embrace and accept failure. I would argue that I hope to be as big a failure as Gary Keller someday because the man learns more than anybody else through his failures and always comes out looking like a visionary and ahead of the market. So if I could just be the same level of that failure, we embrace that around here. We like that. Apparently, they promote you around here if you do that enough.
Keep failing. I like it.
Keep failing.
Yep.
I think even to quote the great Gary Keller, he did mention that during a recession, the last thing you want to have is a recession mindset.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that and just our mindset and from our leadership team at Keller Williams International, how we're leading that charge and we're charging that storm.
It's so funny. This is my first podcast since causing a little bit of trouble in the United States, and I stood on a national media stage and basically said, I'm super excited about the market we're in. I've been waiting 14 years for this, longest economic expansion in U.S. history, and other countries around the world have been a fast follow. I'm super excited about this market because this is when professionals show up. This is when skill matters more than speed.
Yep.
And no offense to anybody, we all have been new agents, but honestly, this is the time where you need a professional to navigate you through a market like this. And there's been so much frothiness in this industry, in this environment over the last several years that it's confused the consumer. So this is a great market for us.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I like it. And you touched on something a few moments ago, and that's about building wealth during times like this. And I know you're very passionate about
Yes.
that and investment properties and teaching others how to do that.
Yeah.
Talk to us quickly about why that's so important.
Yeah, I mean, number one, begin with the end in mind. Why do we all work? What are we working for? What's our big why? Well, I think most of us would agree it's to have a better life for our families than maybe our parents gave us,
Absolutely.
or their grandparents gave them, or whatever the case might be. And so if you're going to work, you might as well be great at it. If you're going to spend your time away from your family, you might as well earn the money and be smart with that money. Because here's the crazy stat that drives me crazy and launched me on this campaign 20 years ago to teach wealth in this company is we all, over the course of our lifetimes, make enough money to be wealthy. Mm-hmm. And there's a very small percentage of people for other various reasons that are kind of on the extremes, and we love those people too. And one of the reasons we need to make money is to help those people. But most of us are going to make enough money in our lifetime, in the 99 percentile, we're going to make enough money to be wealthy. Only 3% are. Why? It's how we treat our money. And so I look at my job as, and I love this industry. I'm a student of the game. I love it. And yet when people say, I love being a realtor because I want to help people live the dream, all right? The Canadian dream, American dream, whatever the case is, I want to help them buy properties. And I'll say, yes, but you do charge for your services, correct? Yes, I do. Well, we got to make a living. Okay, great. So if we can combine those two, I believe you are worth every dollar you make as a professional real estate agent. And you should be building massive wealth with that to change the lives of people around you and change your community. And at the end of the day, we are unabashedly unashamed capitalists. Doesn't mean you're bad. We also give more money than any company on the planet in our space. So,
I think I heard over at some time ago, Keller Williams. I think we've converted the most agents into billionaires, other than any other real estate brand.
And millionaires, yes.
Millionaires and billionaires.
Yes. This is something that again I take a little heat when I say things, and it's okay. Because they're true, and I have a whole legal team that always has one arm around me, which is a good thing to have. But we have real estate agents. They started out like you and I. We sell real estate. They found a problem in the industry. They created a product, business, or solution to fix that. They ran it across the largest ecosystem on the planet, 200,000 agents in our case. And those businesses, not just in our world, because we're also playing the infinite game. This is the other thing that people find odd about Keller Williams is we love all agents who are truly a fiduciary. Where when you and I are going to fight is when you start saying the agent doesn't matter, or they're just there to open a door, or they don't really add any value to the consumer. I love every RE/MAX agent on the planet. Nick Bailey's a good friend of mine, the CEO of RE/MAX, and I think they're a fantastic organization. And they share this thought process. We have many differences, but they share the thought process that the real estate agent is a fiduciary. They matter at a high level. Unfortunately, there are always entrants into the space who don't believe that. And specifically over the last several years, you have big technology companies, whatever the case is, and they would love to see a real estate agent be mitigated to an Uber driver who unlocks doors. And that's not the highest and best use of a real estate agent. A professional real estate agent will help you get the best deal for your largest asset in the least amount of time, least amount of hassle. And anything short of that is an opportunity for the industry to get better.
Interesting.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, in wrapping up this morning, Mark, I always appreciate your time, always appreciate your insight and positive outlook, even through strange times within the market. There's always an opportunity, and I think our challenge today is to look for that opportunity, open the door, and go through the door. And Mark, you've shown us that many times over. Thank you for being the leader that you are.
Well, you're very kind. If I could add one quick thing, it's you don't see it looking at me today, but I grew up very poor. A lot of people know my story. I lived in a car as a kid, and here's the once you've lived in a car, there's not a market that scares you. And if you can help other people navigate through that who maybe haven't had that extreme, and I hope no one ever else has to ever endure that. But when you've lived through that, nothing scares you. And I honestly, when you've been through these cycles, you know what to expect, and you actually get stronger during them.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Well said.
Excellent. Well, that is our episode with Marc King, the president of Keller Williams International, and you can check us out on your podcast player of choice. Thank you. Bye for now. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to click the subscribe button so new episodes will automatically be downloaded to your device. Please help us reach more people by leaving a rating and a review on your podcast player of choice. Now go make it an amazing day for somebody.